Sketch the rational function y equals 3x squared over x plus 1. So here we have a quadratic over a linear. Looking at the bottom, we can see that the vertical asymptote will be the value of x that makes the bottom 0. So x equals negative 1. If we think about the top, x equals 0 is the only value that will make y 0. So we know that this graph goes through 0, 0, the origin, and that's both the only x-intercept and the y-intercept. Now, because the top has a degree that's 1 greater than the bottom, here we're going to get an oblique asymptote. Now, we can do some division in order to find that, although we don't have to go all the way through with it. So what we have here is 3x squared plus no x's plus 0. So if we do x into 3x squared, that gives us 3x. And then multiplying the 3x by the x plus 1 gives us 3x squared plus 3x. If we subtract, we get negative 3x. What would we multiply this by to get negative 3x? That would be negative 3. So we get y is equal to 3x minus 3 as an oblique asymptote. Now we can use a number line to think about when the sign might change. Remember, on the top here we've got 3x squared, and on the bottom we've got an x plus 1. And we know that the vertical asymptote is at negative 1 and the x-intercept is at 0. So those are the places where signs could change. But note that 3x squared is always positive. So in this region here, we have that 3x squared is positive and x plus 1 is negative, meaning overall it's going to be negative. Between negative 1 and 0, they're both positive. And they're both positive again from 0 onwards. So we have all the information we need to make a reasonable sketch of this graph. So we have the intercept just here. We have that x equals negative 1 is the vertical asymptote just there. We have an oblique asymptote, which is y equals 3x minus 3. So that's going to look something like this. Maybe we need to take our graph a bit further down there. So let's take this axis a bit further down. So something like that. Let's just label this as x is negative 1. And let's label this as 3x take away 3. And let's just straighten it up because I've got a bit of a curve going there. So something like that. Now, we know that when we're less than negative 1, the graph must be negative. It's also got to conform to the asymptotes. So the only thing it can really do is something like this. In the top, we know it always has to be positive, but it's going to go through the origin. So it must come down the asymptote, take a minimum, and then start to head towards the oblique asymptote. So it's going to look something like that.